right, off-season show, episode number 7. It is February 12th, 2025, and we have an absolute ton to talk about for February. My name is Krista Turk. We are Bet the Beach, and I appreciate you joining us here today. If you want to get involved with the program, first off, the phone number right there, 978-254-1707. Again, 978-254-1707. If you're watching live on YouTube, feel free to go ahead and give us a call, and we can talk some beach volleyball. Y'all can also hop in the live chat if you would like. We got that up here. I'll be reading those chats throughout the course of the evening. And if you are one of our podcast listeners, I see you. I appreciate you. I've been seeing the ratings you've been leaving. I appreciate that. Please continue. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. It is important. It is very helpful, and we certainly do appreciate it very much, our podcast listeners. Let's start here today with a huge monumental moment in the history of Bet the Beach. And if you were following along for season number 1 of the AVP League, you might already have a hint where this is going. If you weren't, if you're a new follower to Bet the Beach, I appreciate you. What I hold in my hand right here is something that just came in Saturday, I believe. It landed on my doorstep. It is a piece of AVP League merchandise made available for the first time about 2 weeks ago. Soon as it became available, I knew I had to go out. I knew I had to support my team in the AVP League because, you know, what is the city concept? What is the team concept if you don't pick a team and root for that team, right? And I think AVP is relying on the instincts of people to find a team, latch onto a team, pair up with that team, root for that team from season to season. And we had an important announcement a couple of days ago as it relates to the team concept, and that it was that the members of the San Diego Smash, that would be Chase Buttinger and Miles Evans on the men's side, that would be Gina Urango and Tony Rodriguez on the women's side, would all be returning, would all be accepting automatic bids into the league, Season 2, and would be staying with the San Diego Smash, which is an absolute no-brainer. Well done for the AVP. Absolutely well done there. A huge move by the AVP to bring back a team, a consistent team from one season to the next. Are you going to get that with all the teams? Of course not. Miami Mayhem, complete new team you're going to see in 2025. The women, the A team, have retired. Trevor and Theo gone their separate ways. We'll talk more about that as the night goes on tonight. That said, some teams have half their teams coming back. Some teams have their entire team coming back. The Dallas Dream, for example, have both Andy Benish and Miles Partain coming back, and it is expected that Haley Harward and Kylie DeBerg will be returning for the 2025 AVP League season. Excuse me, I had to get the GoPro started again. So, what am I saying? What I'm saying is the year-to-year concept of the AVP League, to be a fan of a specific team, is critical, I think. So what I hold here is a piece of merchandise that I purchased the first day they were available. It just came in, and I'm going to unveil it right now. It is basically me picking who I'm going to be a fan of from now until my dying day on the AVP League. And I hope in 10, 15 years, this team here has 5 championships, been to the championship 8 times. I hope that this team from year to year reflects the type of competitive spirit that they certainly did in season number 1. I'm a guy from the Northeast, right? So I'm not in Southern California like a lot of you. I'm not in Texas. I'm not in Louisiana. So I had to pick a team that geographically made sense. I had to pick a team that I loved, supported, rooted for, season 1 of the AVP League, and a team that I'm going to continue to root and support and love no matter who the teams end up being for season number 2. Now, luckily, this team, it does look like, if they keep year-to-year consistency, I will have a men's team returning. I will not have a women's team returning for this. Maybe I'll have one of the two. We don't know. But Bet the Beach officially, as I've said many times, there it is. I'm a Nitro guy. I've said it many times. Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander, one of the funnest teams to watch, have been for the last 2 or 3 seasons on the AVP. Kelly Chang, Sarah Hughes were spectacular. They were your prohibitive favorites going into the league. They were your favorites going into the championship. And ultimately, they ended up falling in the semifinals and then falling in the bronze medal match, taking a 4th in season number 1. So this isn't like I'm jumping on a successful bandwagon here. I'm not holding up a San Diego Smash jersey for you. I'm from the Northeast. I'm taking one of the 2 teams between that and the Brooklyn Blaze that are near, quite literally, and dear to my hearts. Bet the Beach officially, a New York Nitro podcast, YouTube show. We're Nitro. I'm a Nitro guy. What do we think? The fit is good, comfortable, sharp. How about that? New York Nitro, baby. We're expecting to get Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander back. Let's hope so. Let's hope the AVP can keep some year-to-year consistency, because what is rooting for a city if you don't have some consistency year after year? So New York Nitro, big news. Got the first little bit of merch. So that leads me to our first topic of the day today, and we got a bunch of them for you. And that would be the announcement today on Instagram. Welcome to the 2025 AVP League, featuring the top 8 AVP teams in the nation. And if I had to guess, I would tell you that it's my friends over at the McKibben Brothers that are putting this thing together. It looks like a McKibben product. Clean, sharp, beautiful, easy to understand, and not exactly announcing anything, I would say, in this post here today, but certainly confirming some of the things that have been speculated both here on this program and across the comment sections and the Volley Talk chat boards. But what do we learn here? Well, we confirmed that there are 3 qualification events, April 12th, April 26th, and then the Huntington Beach Open. We confirmed that the top 4 teams who stay together from 2024 are automatically in. We talked about what that meant on the men's side last week in our battle for the AVP League on the men's side, and we'll get into that a little bit later on tonight here. The battle for the AVP League on the women's side, a very hotly contested battle. We'll look at that here in a few minutes. Qualification events. Teams qualify based on performances in the 3 events. Single elimination on the 12th and the 22nd. And I've started to look at point combinations so we can start seeding out who's going to be at the top, who's going to be at the bottom, and to start taking a look at just how exciting, thrilling, tough it's going to be to make or break an entire AVP season with a couple of single elimination tournaments there on the 12th and the 26th. 2 wild cards may be awarded per gender in 2025, and if the comments are any reflection, I think the AVP is going to be very cautious about how it awards those wild cards. Taking a bit of heat last season for wild carding in the A-team and wild carding, I guess, cutting out at that point, Abby Van Winkle and Savvy Simo. From a marketing perspective, obviously the right move for the AVP. But the comment section, none too happy with the wild cards, so I would expect, and we'll talk about it more as we look at the women's side here, but I'd be surprised if the AVP handed out a wild card on the men's side. 9 events from May to August as the teams battle for a spot in the championship. Each team has a men's duo and a women's duo. 4 athletes, 1 team, just as it was in season number 1. And then the championship, the top 4 teams competing for the 2nd AVP League title. San Diego Smash, of course, the winners in season number 1. So really not learning anything new with the post today, but we are getting confirmed some of the things that we had been speculating about over the course of the last couple weeks. Go to the comments here. There was one question here from one of the Bet the Beach followers. Big fan here, Root and Fruit Nutrition, Sarah Amadon, a sponsor of a lot of the players on the tour. Great question here, I thought, and I'd love to get this thing answered. Will a championship in Chicago still be at Oak Street Beach and daytime play or nighttime play? All eyes, I think, are going to be on the announcement, which won't come out for a while now, on when and where that AVP championships will be in Chicago. If they held it on Oak Street Beach with a stadium, I think that would be the coolest thing of all time. I think that's a can't-miss opportunity for an iconic nighttime Oak Street Beach semifinals and finals, Saturday and Sunday of Labor Day weekend. I think that could become a special event, and I think it would compensate for the fact that we're losing an entire tournament in Chicago that same weekend and compensating for it with a championship. But I thought that was a great question there by Root and Fruit Nutrition, something we're going to try to get answered over the course of the next few weeks and months. A bunch of good stuff this week on on YouTube, on podcast. Really partner switch season, bringing out a lot of the players to talk about the events of the last month or so as partners look for new options, look for new partners. And we're going to start with Seain Cook. And Seain Cook on the Seain Cook YouTube channel. This is his preseason vlog number 4. And as we announced last week on the program, Cody Caldwell and Seain Cook splitting up. Largely because Seain Cook not able to play internationally. He mentions here in this clip something about that and where Cody Caldwell is going for the 2025 season.
Cody and I are officially split now. He's going to play with Wilcox. He wanted to play international and can't go do that, which I think I have to talk about in a different video. But anyway, so yeah, he's going to go with Wilcox. The quality defender. I think they talked about they're going to split block. And that was something I didn't super want to do. So, absolutely no hard feelings to Cody. We got the best finishes I've had with the guy, and we had an awesome couple of years, and it was so much fun to be on court. So, there's no animosity there. I hope he does well, unless he's playing against me.
I implore you to go to Seain Cook's YouTube page and check out preseason vlog number 4. A very honest, candid, real version of Seain Cook that you don't always get to see. Talking about how he gets, in effect, broken up with by Cody Caldwell. Cody Caldwell, who wants to play internationally, international aspirations as he looked towards 2028 in Los Angeles. Cody going with Ryan Wilcox, the youngster. Ryan Wilcox, the guy that was interested in split blocking. We had talked about how Cody Caldwell, there were whispers of him wanting to go back to defending. So he gets a partner that he can, at a minimum, split block with. Seain Cook didn't want to do that. Seain Cook not able to play internationally anyways. So where does that leave Seain Cook? Sean talked about how he talked to Theo. Theo went in a different direction, as we talked about last week. That's Troy Field. More on that in a moment. And Sean talked to Troy Field. Again, we'll talk about that in a moment. Theo, Troy, pairing up for the 2025 season. Sean then mentioned about how hard it is to be in that partner switch, in that partner swap, in that partner search. And just a very real, candid conversation by Sean there. Good stuff, talking about the format of the AVP League and what his plans are for a partner. And he did say, quote, he's thinking about going high risk, high reward. So I wonder what that means. I wonder if that means he's going to take a sheet on a young blocker coming up, maybe somebody a little bit less proven, but a little bit of a higher ceiling. That'd be my guess on what he means by that. But a very good, earnest, real conversation from Sean. So I suggest you go check it out, preseason vlog number 4, and I will link to that YouTube in both YouTube here and wherever you get your podcasts tomorrow. Moving on, Theo Brunner this week on The Option, episode 229. The YouTube channel is NYvarsity Sports, Varsity Space Sports, also in podcast form. Theo talking about texting Trevor after he found out that they had available to them an automatic bid into the league for the 2025 season.
From the get-go, I told him it was like a 2-year thing, and then I would at least start thinking about doing something else. So it was like built in. But I will say, once I found out that if we had stayed together, we wouldn't have to qualify, I sent him a text. I was like, Trevor, play with Phil every tournament. Just play the league with me. We don't have to qualify. But I think Trevor's someone that, like, once he's got his mind on something, that's that.
Very, very illuminating conversation there from Theo Brunner on the Option episode 229, New York Varsity Sports, NYvarsity Sports. Again, I'll link to that in the description below. Interesting that once Theo found out about the auto bid, he went back to Trevor, texted him again to see if he wanted to partner up for the 2025 season. You understand the move for sure because there's guaranteed money in the league. So just by picking a partner, you get automatic money in your pocket. So it makes a ton of sense from Theo's perspective. And I also do understand Trevor's perspective. It was as we talked about ad nauseum on the program, after Tri went with Kame, Trevor and Theo became kind of an arranged marriage. I think the two guys really respect each other's game, but I don't think they were ever really friends. Theo talked about it, I think, in this episode quite a bit, about how disappointed he was when Kame made the decision to move, how he enjoyed playing with Kame. He said that the only player that he would have swapped for at the time was Miles Partain, which shows you how much he enjoyed playing with Kame. Mentioned how Kame and him had some good results going into that 2023 season. 2022, I think they took a fourth in World Championships. So they had good entry points to get into Elite 16s in the very beginning of the Olympic qualification. He was also disappointed with how late that Kame made the decision to leave him for Tri Bourne. So a very open and honest Theo Brunner. And you guys know that we're as big Theo Brunner fans as anybody here on the program at Bet the Beach. And it was a excellent conversation with Theo Brunner. Also talking about the league and the format of the league, mentioning how there's only 2 heritage events, that being Huntington at the beginning and then Manhattan Beach the second week in August, saying that was, quote, a tough pill to swallow. So indicating that Theo is in that group of people that is looking for more tournaments as part of this concept. Also saying that with only 2 heritage events, quote, if it stays like that, the sport is not going to be in a good place. So I was interested to hear him say that. Well, he also, in a lot of respects, was very much on board with what the AVP League is doing and has done so far, saying, quote, a lot of us were on board with it, saying, quote, I think that there's something to it. And by that he means the AVP League. I'm open to what's happening. I don't hate it. And then later on, too, one of the things I did enjoy him saying, because it gets you thinking about what this thing could become, talking about how there's going to be a path for everybody. If this thing is successful as we move into a 3rd and 4th league and we set up a qualification system for it, and then the teams can start to grow, and then you get some team owners that can get involved in a draft, and then you have a couple of top-tier individuals on the men's and women's side, and then you draft young, bring guys up. The fact that there's a path for everybody, that's the biggest complaint I think I've heard so far, besides tournament versus not tournament. We're going away from it. We know that. Is that 2025 is a tough season to be a young player on the come-up. Because those first 2 single elimination events, those are the top 16 teams via points. If you're 17th, you're out of that first tournament. Now, if there will be a winner, that team will qualify, and that team won't be able to play in the second tournament. So if you're the 17th team via points, well, now you have an opportunity in that second tournament. Huntington Beach, a little bit larger draw with a qualifier. So a third opportunity for a team to make a Cinderella run and get one of the automatic bids by winning the Heritage Series Huntington Beach Open. But beyond that, not a lot of opportunities for a young player on the tour in 2025. The AVP is moving to a place where there'll be more opportunities, but just based on the structure of it, one of the complaints that you've heard. So it was nice to think about a future in which there is a path for a young professional to make it up into the league and to really take that path and get there. One last podcast I want to share with you. Again, excellent conversation with Theo there on the Option, NYvarsity Sports. We'll link to it in the description. Troy Field, Tri Bourne on the SandCast podcast. You guys know that I'm a fan of the SandCast podcast. Tri and Troy illuminating some things, explaining some things that we had not yet known about the AVP League. Troy talking about the process of Theo picking him up.
I think if you're in it, like if you're in the volleyball world, you were as shocked as maybe I was to find out that Theo picked me. It was like The Bachelor, honestly.
I
I feel like it
say
was
that Trevor and Theo broke up.
No. We knew that. We knew that might come.
Hey, free bid to the league next
Yeah.
year. No, we're good. We're
No,
good.
no.
Not even going to consider it.
So it was funny to see. Maybe like funny is not a right word, but it was very interesting to see that how much power this one player had, and not like he abused it, but Theo
Right.
I couldn't imagine his phone.
Text.
I'm sure he probably had to get a new phone from how many texts he was
He
getting.
was like, he was a waterfall
Yeah.
because the trickle down was just
Yeah.
very heavy.
So the Troy Theo conversation ended up being a pretty big one across two different podcasts over the last 2 weeks. Troy talking about how he reached out to Theo, let him know he was interested. Theo eventually, ultimately, coming back to Troy and saying, let's make a run for it in 2025. And one of the things that I love to hear about Theo talking about picking up Troy, Theo nearing the end of his career, looking towards a career in potentially coaching at the pro level. We did get an announcement that he's going to be coaching Andy Benish and Miles Partain, at least in some capacity in 2025. So that's the direction that Theo's looking to go, which is great for us because Theo's an awesome guy, an excellent ambassador, and we'd love to see him sticking around and being a part of the sport. You never know. He could be one of the coaches of one of these teams. He could be the New York Nitro coach in a year or two. That'd be awesome. So good news there. Theo also talking about how partnering up with Troy can help give Troy an opportunity in the 2025 season to really take a level up, take a step up, and then when Theo goes away, that really bumps Troy up into a higher level of new conversation, something similar to what Kelly Chang is doing with Molly Shaw. More on that in a moment. Finally, from that Troy field appearance on SandCast, talking about how everybody's afraid of Evan Corey and Tri Bourne, two guys that just narrowly missed the cut in season number 1. They're going to be hungry, was the quote there. And then talking about how excited they both were that MBO sticking around. It's awesome, quote. It carries so much weight, and it means so much to the athletes, end quote, from Tri Bourne, talking about how much the players appreciate the keeping the Manhattan Beach Open for 2025. Let's take a look at the combined calendar. The Beach Pro Tour, the FIVB, shuffling up their schedule a little bit. I issued my combined calendar a couple weeks ago and then immediately had to go ahead and give it an update. I was able to add the a couple of qualifying league events for the AVP on the 12th and the 26th. And then the highlights for the AVP, or the Beach Pro Tour changing its schedule. The most major change was a reclassification of that April 10th through the 13th event in Saquarema. It was a challenge. It is now an Elite 16. It was already a conflict with that first league qualifier, but as a challenge event, carried less points, carried less of a prize pool, and thus would be less of a conflict with all of the United States players and select Canadians like Brandy and Mel who are looking to qualify for the AVP League. Now it's an Elite 16. Now it's a little bit more of a conflict. So you're going to have limited participation from the top 16 teams in the USA. And as I said, likely Brandy and Mel. The Beach Pro Tour added a few events in the summer, which I was kind of interested to see, including a challenge event in Turkey. That's Alanya, Turkey, from June 12th to 15th. That does conflict with AVP League week number 3, Miami, Florida. Again, I'm not less worried about a challenge event being a conflict. In a non-Olympic year, your top-tier players that are going to be in your league aren't going to every event, and they're most certainly not going to every challenge event. Beach Pro Tour moving their Staria Blanchi challenge there from the fall to June 26th through the 29th, which is a conflict with a contender event in Virginia Beach. Not a huge deal there. And they also added one event in Brazil, another challenge from July 24th to the 27th, and that's an off week for the AVP. Not a lot of conflicts there. And then finally, one clarification / editor's note. The final event of the year in my original calendar I had labeled as the Beach Pro Tour Finals. That is, in fact, World Champs, a much larger draw, 4-team country quota per country. So a big wide draw there, multiple day tournament. A lot different from the Beach Pro Tour Finals, which is a much smaller invitational draw with a large prize pool. Both have a large prize pool is the difference there. So I think that covers most of the most recent news and notes from the AVP. What I want to get to now is the battle for the AVP League on the women's side. We did this last week for the men. We talked about new partnerships. Phil Dahlhauser pairing up with Trevor Crabb. Troy Field pairing up with Theo Brunner. And then what the shakedown would be, automatic bids, and all that. So let's talk some new partnerships on the women's side. And we'll start with a relatively big announcement over the course of the last week. Julia Scholes, who had played the last few seasons with her partner, Betsy Flint, age 27, the blocker for the last few years, the 2022 AVP Atlanta champion, that was with Gina Urango, 2023 Manhattan Beach Open champion with Betsy Flint in the Hurricane, a couple of FIVB Elite 16 silver medals. One of those was at that Montreal Elite 16 in 2023 when they lost to Brandy and Mal on their home soil. Julia moving on from Betsy, or maybe Betsy moved on from Julia. We won't know that. At least for a while until we get them on one of these podcasts and they can spill the beans. But she's partnering up with Lexi Denneberg. Lexi Denneberg, who has played both blocker and defender over the course of the last few years. Age 23 years old, 6'0". Her best international result was a 4th place in the 2024 Elite 16 in João Pessoa, Brazil. And her best of finish on the AVP Tour was a 2023 AVP Hermosa 3rd place. This is going to be a dangerous team. 2 players that I like a lot. I've sung the virtues of Julia Scholes often on this program. An excellent player. Her and Betsy, I think, would have qualified for the Olympics if they had been playing for all but 2 countries in the world. Maybe. That's a tough one. Maybe 3 countries. USA, Brazil, and probably Switzerland, I would say. But Betsy and Julia qualify via points in any other federation with the exception of those 3. Country quota, 2 for the Olympics. TKN and Kelly and Sarah shot off to an early lead and never looked back, despite Julia and Betsy having some good results. And they would have had more, too, if they hadn't kind of pulled their foot off the gas because they were already out of that conversation. So Julia and Lexi are going to be an excellent a pairing to watch. They already are going to have enough points to be a top 8 seed for sure come that first Elite 6 or single elim AVP League qualifier in Huntington Beach on April 12th. Julia and Lexi, a top 8 seed in that. So they're going to be the high seed playing a low seed in that 16-team single elim. No word yet on where Betsy Flint goes. The logical partner that I've kind of circled around. Well, you know what? We'll get there in a minute. Let's get to the big news of the last 2 weeks, the last month on the women's side. So just a week ago, I said that the story of the off-season was Phil Dahlhauser and Trevor Crabb pairing up. You had a guy in Trevor Crabb who had established himself as one of the best blockers, playing with the legend of the game in Phil Dahlhauser. On the women's side, it was setting up to be a lot less interesting. And by that I mean the teams were very stable. You already have 2 automatic bids that are going to take your automatic bids. Gina, Tony, Haley, Kylie, likely to take that second bid, not confirmed, but everybody's really seeming to think that Haley and Kylie are going to play together. Take the automatic bid, take the automatic money in your pocket. TKN are together, they're solid. Mel and Brandy together, they just took a second place in the Olympics. They got a silver medal around their necks. They're not going to go anywhere for 2025. Kelly and Sarah, seemingly the same thing, locked up, good, solid. Sarah Hughes then has an Achilles injury, which is going to leave her out through, at a minimum, the qualification events. We don't know if she's back in the middle of summer, end of summer. She hasn't said that. We're not going to speculate. But we do know that she's going to be out through at least the qualification, which means she's not going to make the AVP League, which means Kelly Chang had an important decision to make. So what does Kelly do? Kelly Chang not going to get an automatic bid. Not going to get the one that she qualified for with Sarah Hughes because she's not staying with Sarah Hughes for the 2025 season. I've asked a few people in the know if the AVP would consider giving her an exemption for that because she technically did qualify and her partner got injured. They're not splitting. I was told no. Kelly Chang will not get the automatic bid. She could apply for a wild card, but I was told by one source that would be, quote, dicey, end quote. The AVP, as we talked about, under fire for a wild cards given out last year. I think they're going to be a little hesitant to do that unless they absolutely have to. That said, if a TKN doesn't qualify, I would expect them to get a wild card. If a Mel Brandy doesn't qualify, I would expect them to get a wild card. Not so sure about this new partnership you see on your screen there. Kelly Chang partnering up with Molly Shaw. Big news, probably the biggest news on the women's side that you're going to get, and kind of a surprise for a lot of people that Kelly ended up picking Molly Shaw as her partner. Who is Molly Shaw? 28 years old, 5'8", primary position defender. The biggest thing I can say about Molly Shaw, she's been on the tour since 2018. She's grinded. She's played with a bunch of different partners. She's played well. Her shining moment of her career on the international stage was just 6 months ago. In the final events of the 2024 season on the Beach Pro Tour, Molly Shaw, with partner Tony Rodriguez, took a gold, a silver, and a bronze in 3 consecutive 2024 FIVB Challenge events. Tony Rodriguez playing very well, but Molly Shaw also a very important part of that combination, a very important part of those 3 medals, a medal of each color for Molly Shaw. 3 consecutive events, 3 medals, 1 of each color at the end of 2024. Molly Shaw, a rising star, and Kelly Chang saying, this is the person that I want to play with for the 2025 season. All signs are pointing to Kelly picking up Sarah once Sarah gets healthy again, so this would be a 1-year thing. But as Theo is doing for Troy, Kelly is doing for Molly here. Because even at the end of the partnership, they'll still be a year away. In theory, let's say Sarah Hughes comes back for the 2026 season. They'll still be 1 year away from Olympic qualification for 2028 starting, which won't start until the spring of 2027. Molly Shaw will have had a year playing with the second best USA blocker in Kelly Chang. First best? I don't know if you want to go Taryn Cloth, Kelly Chang. Honestly, I think they're pretty close, the two of them right now. Kelly Chang's probably the best one. So let's go Kelly 1, Taryn Cloth, now Taryn Brasher. Congratulations, Taryn, just getting married. Kelly Chang, I would say, a little bit better than Taryn Cloth. So Molly Shaw gets an opportunity to play with the best blocker in the United States for the 2025 season. If they have success, Molly Shaw stock rises. Then when it comes time for a new partner in 2026, her stock has risen. She's got more success. She's got more experience, just as Theo is hoping his partnering with Troy will do for him, and avoiding some of the turmoil, the challenges that are partner swap, partner finding for a season, like we saw Seain Cook talk about in that vlog earlier. Kelly Chang, 29 years old, 6'2", full-time blocker, 2-time Olympian, Tokyo in 2021, Paris in 2024. Her and Sarah won the 2023 Beach World Champs, and she is a 5-time AVP champion. What does that mean for the battle for the AVP League on the women's side? So Jeannie Rango, Tony Rodriguez confirmed late last week San Diego Smash returning in full with their partners Miles Evans and Chase Buttinger. That is a confirmed automatic bid. One team is in the league on the women's side. I asked around and I couldn't get a definitive answer, but all signs are pointing to Kylie DeBerg and Haley Harward sticking together on the AVP in 2025 and taking the auto bid. Kylie DeBerg playing with Tony Rodriguez internationally. Jeannie Rango has not played internationally, and it looks like that is going to continue moving forward. So Tony Rodriguez needing to find a different partner for international play. Her and Kylie pairing up, which I think is a pretty interesting partnership. I guess Tony probably goes back to playing defense there. Probably a little bit height restricted was Tony Rodriguez to be a blocker on the international tour, a tour that's got just a taller player on average. So Tony moving to defense internationally, play with Kylie DeBerg. I don't know where Haley Howard's going to go. internationally yet. She is on the entry list for that first challenge event in the Yucatan in Mexico coming up here in March. So the auto bid is available. The partnership is unconfirmed, but all signs are pointing to Kylie and Haley taking the second auto bid. Kleiman and Ross retired. We talked about Sarah Hughes being out with an injury. So what does that mean? We know Kelly Chang is partnering up with Molly Shaw. We just talked about that. Kristen and Taryn, they are looking for one of the 6 available spots for the league. Mel and Brandy, same could be said for them. Therese and Megan, a team nobody hotter right now in the world, I would say, than Therese Cannon and Megan Kraft. Nobody had more success in 2024 than these two. So you have 4 real, and I think Tri and Troy called them juggernauts earlier today on the SandCast episode. Juggernauts is right. Those 4 teams, to be on the outside looking in of those 4 teams when 2 spots are already taken is a tough place to be. So all the players you have on that bottom row there and many more talented players below that are staring up at a tough road to climb. Kristen and Taryn, if they don't qualify, they will. If they don't qualify, I would expect them to get an auto bid. As I said, same could be said for Mel and Brandy. If they don't, they will. But if they don't, they will get an automatic bid. So you got 4 spots gone now. Kelly and Molly, are they able to, just started training a few weeks ago, are they able to ramp up in enough time to have it to be a team that has some success? I would expect them to be able to have that success. I would expect them to be able to qualify. Another spot gone. Therese and Megan, same thing. They wouldn't get an automatic bid. I don't think Therese and Megan wouldn't. I don't think they're at that profile yet as far as star power goes, but I'd expect them to qualify. So now you have 2 spots remaining for a bunch of really talented teams. Abby Van Winkle and Savvy Simo looking to bounce back from getting landing on the cutting room floor for the 2024 season of the AVP League. Ended up technically qualifying, but then the wild card goes to the A team. So Abby and Savvy end up playing a tiebreak in Chicago in empty stands against Kylie DeBerg and Haley Harward. Kylie and Haley end up winning the tiebreak. Abby and Savvy miss out on the first season of the league. We talked about Lexi Denneberg and Julia Scholes. That's going to be a powerful team, a team that's certainly going to be in contention for one of those 2 final spots. And a couple other teams that have had excellent success the last few years, teams that are fun to watch. Devon Sowers and Carly Kahn had some success. Tegan Van Gunst and Kimberly Hildreth. Van Gunst really the highest on the points list for a lot of those players, surprisingly. So Tegan and Kimberly Hildreth going to be in a good spot points-wise to be a top 8 seed in that round of 16 qualifier on April 2nd. Betsy Flint, no word there. Deanna Kraft, no word there. Not a coincidence I put them individually but next to each other on the graphic. Wouldn't be shocked to see the 2 of them pair up, but that's just kind of speculation at this point. I don't know what either's plans are for the 2025 season, but as soon as I do, you'll be the first to know. Give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. All the partner updates, new partner alerts, they all go up as soon as I have them, confirmed. So, and then finally, Jaden Whitmarsh and Devin Newberry. Couple of youngsters made their debut on the tour 2 years ago, 2023, had some pretty good success. They're like a top 8, top 10 team right now, points-wise. So they'll be in the hunt for one of those final 2 spots on the women's side. And I think that'll about do it for us here tonight. I know there's a lot to throw at you, but there's a lot going on. And as we get more partnership updates, I'll send them your way. Continue to follow along. It's at Bet the Beach. Yeah, that'll do it for us here tonight. Keep your eyes out for any more partner updates. I'll get those to you. And then we'll start to turn our attention here to what's going to be an incredibly exciting month of April. Single elimination tournaments. Will they be streaming? I would hope so. I did hear that there will be full admission. That was on one of the graphics from the AVP today. So you will be able to get in and watch those. You are never going to get higher stakes volleyball than a single elimination 16-team tournament to qualify for a league that puts a good chunk of money in these players' pockets. It's a big deal, these 2 tournaments. And the first one is a big deal, and the second one is even a little bit bigger of a deal because the one team that won the first one's gone, so the next everybody moves up a step. A new team bumps up from the 17th spot into that 16th spot. And I think you're going to see a lot of players as we approached the sign-up deadline, the entry deadline, taking a look at points, playing the points game. So I'm putting a spreadsheet together so we can take a look at different player point combinations, and we can start seeding out what these two 16-team elimination tournaments are going to look like. And don't forget, we're only 4 weeks away from the first challenge event of the 2025 season, March 20th through the 23rd, 5 weeks away. We'll be betting on that. We'll certainly get you all my spreads, predictions, picks, as I always do. Looking for another successful season gambling on the Beach Pro Tour. That'll do it for us tonight. I thank you for joining us, and I will see you again next week. And have a good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.
Wake up, sunshine, let's go play. Beach volleyball is the way. Sand in my toes, sky so blue. Fun in the sun, just me and you. Bounce on the beach, set the ball high. Smiles all around and we reach for the sky. Surfs up and laughter's in the breeze. Join the podcast if you please. Having in, watch us fly. Under the sun we feel so high. Spike and surf, hear the cheer. Every day is summer here. Wake up, sunshine, let's go play. Beach volleyball is the way. Sand in my toes, sky so blue. Fun in the sun, just me and you. Bounce on the beach, set the ball high. Smiles all around and we reach for the sky. Surfs up and laughter's in the breeze. Join the podcast if you please. Dive and dig, watch us fly. Under the sun we feel so high. Spike and surf, hear the cheer. Every day is summer here. Dive and dig, watch us fly. Under the sun we feel so high. Spike and surf, hear the cheer. Every day is summer here.